Welcome to Debt to Cinema. I'm Stephen Maltmanex.
And I'm Brian Gillis. Like most people, we love going to the theater and catching latest releases. However, it can sadly put a big dent in your wallet.
Fortunately, living in the digital age makes the viewing possibilities endless from the comforts of home.
Many of these films that you can see right from your couch, we're ashamed to say we miss, despite labeling ourselves cinephiles.
So join us as one or both of us cross off a title from our list of shame.
It can be an all-time essential classic,
Or an underrated piece of cinema that's worth giving a shot.
hell, it might just be some trashy film we want the others' opinion on. So sit tight and join us as we pay off our debts, $1 at a time.
So they call him Samurai, huh?
His real name is Joe Marshall. They call him Samurai. He speaks fluent Japanese.
Omaha, Yamaha, whatever his name is, right?
Are you Fujiyama?
He got his martial arts training from the masters in Japan. He was brought over here from the police force in San Diego to fight us.
I want him dead. I want his head cut off and brought here. I want his head on this piano.
I will bring you his head and I will place it on your piano. And we'll see who the real samurai is.
This is clearly a terrible Tuesday pick.
This is a weird Wednesday pick.
Just as bad. Or is it Terror Tuesday?
Terror Tuesday, yeah, different.
Should be terrible.
No. Terror Tuesday is horror movie based. Weird Wednesday is just anything strange. But, yeah, did you like what you saw?
No. I watched this very differently than I normally do. I put this on before work, so I was late to work, and I didn't even tell people why.
Because it's so good that you just had to keep watching.
No, I stopped it. Like I said earlier, I was like, okay, how much time do I got left? I was like, 8 minutes. I was like, okay, it can't be that late. And I just put it on pause, and I came back, and I literally did an intermission for the final fight. That's how little shits I gave. Because what the fuck is this, and why did you make this a selection? I understand, like, oh yeah, or maybe it's just a trashy thing I want the other one to watch. Like, yeah, the intro says it. It sets it up.
It's there, you know, we can talk about trash too.
No, for you, it's a totally different thing, though. You were in an audience that expects this on a weekly basis. Like I said, you had an audience. Most of you were drinking, and so there's an audience atmosphere there. You had someone who set up the show, told you about it, maybe a little bit of history or whatever. For me, this is just some random fucking thing on Amazon Prime Instant that I watched on my own in bed before work on a Sunday. Like, why?
Maybe
why
you
did I
needed
watch
more
this?
build up for this. I mean, like, here's the thing: is that I knew about this. I don't know. It seems like forever ago because I think around 2011, 2010. There were YouTube clips just of this movie. It was mainly of the hospital scene and the first confrontation that they have in the restaurant because, that big line of, I'm telling these son of a bitches. Everyone laughs at that line and you just can't forget it. That went around on the internet and there was this whole thing that went around of like, oh, is the actual real samurai cop dead? And then the actor that played him said, no, I'm not dead. And then
they made a sequel this year or this past year or whatever.
Yeah, they did a sequel through Kickstarter, which is also on Amazon Prime. I'm sure it's terrible because it's
probably trying to be as bad as this one.
Like it, but I still feel like I have to see that anyway.
It's probably really like this is bad in the cult classic check me out like exploitation type movie type of way where very shoestring budget early 90s just story doesn't make sense for some reason. It's all dubbed like
this
on
is
paper
insane,
it's
like
a shit show, but it's entertaining.
There's so much about this. Like, I don't have the guy's name in front of me, but it's an Iranian filmmaker who I guess supposedly made a bunch of critically acclaimed stuff in Iran. And then he decides to come to LA and make trashy cop movies.
Let's make Samurai Cop.
Yeah, he does.
Wrote, produced, directed, and then...
That's the key thing here. Wrote. Like, that is why the language is so terrible here, because this guy did not speak English fluently, so...
Are you sure about that? Because he dubbed, like...
a lot of the voices. Yeah, no,
so he definitely had a strong understanding of the English language. I think he was just looking to make a certain kind of movie.
I am not. I think he might be giving it a bit too much credit. I have not looked too much into this production. I mean, here's the deal: is that this was a pick like right after I saw it. I did not go into this expecting to do it for this show, but then I saw this, and right away I just thought, I have to talk about this movie because there is so much here. Like, it is just way too weird. And I just, whether you loved it or you hate it, I was just like, no, I have to talk about this. I have to at least just share this experience because it is such a strange thing.
I don't think this film's even weird by today's standards. This kind of film has been normalized, especially with the likes of like Black Dynamite or
okay, but here's the thing, like that's clearly an homage or just a parody of a genre. Like
no, well that's what I'm saying though. Once they, or the other example I was gonna use is Kung Fury, or even better yet, what was that? Turbo Kid? Yeah. Like, after a certain amount of time, especially with the day of Kickstarter, people started just making new stuff on digital to look like shit that looks like this, and then it doesn't make sense, or maybe it has bad music, or it's really corny, or bad cutaways, or whatever.
That's something that's trying to, like, kind of be a nod to trash. Like, this movie,
not even
though,
a nod, but, like, it's trying to, like,
it's trying to recreate that, yeah. Which is probably what Samurai Cop 2 is doing. But what Samurai Cop wants to be is the next Lethal Weapon.
And it's just trash.
Exactly.
And there's something kind of beautiful about that. This, like, saying B budget is giving it more praise than it deserves. Like, this is D budget. Like, this is really bad looking fake blood, bullets that have too many, like, guns that have too many bullets, just fight scenes that don't exist. You do get a couple of cool shots of cars, though. Like,
I mean, like, to be fair, the helicopter shots in the beginning, like right in LA, it's like it's stock footage, but that stuff is really, really cool.
The helicopter stuff was all cool.
I mean, when you see stuff like that, even if it's the camera's if it's sped up a little bit in the editing, like even just shots of cars driving through the city streets or the neighborhoods, or just knocking down mailboxes, it's just
a lot.
Stuff like this, like, it's funny because now it seems like it's way easier to make something that's really bad and make it seem lazy. At least with this, they're doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're actually, like, at least trying to do something, and they're getting out there to do it, and it just doesn't feel entirely lazy. Like, I see, just even if it's just like a car just zipping past a camera, like, there's just something about it.
It is undoubtedly bad, but there's nothing lazy about it. Like, they put a lot of time into this film between, how many women they got to show their tits, the wardrobe, even if, like, according to what I read, it was all provided by the actors, and even the cars, and that's supposed to be the same situation here. Like, there's a 1989 Honda Prelude. It looks super sexy in this film. Like, it was brand new when they filmed this. I'm like, that's a good-looking car. Like, for reference here, I drive a 91 Integra, so it's, like, basically the same... not model, but very similar designs, okay? I'm looking, I was like, oh, yeah, my car used to look that good once upon a time. When I bought it, it looked that good. But, man, like, no, this is the kind of movie where you got where it's supposed to be seen. Or this is...
Exactly.
You're at a party, and someone puts it on, and no one's really watching it, except everyone's watching it.
And they're laughing at all the funny parts. Like, that's exactly what this is. And you probably should have had a beer and watched this, just even if you're enjoying it on your own.
Even still, I don't think one beer would have been enough. Like, I probably would have been on my third or fourth. Like, I needed a good amount of beers for this one, or a good amount of people with me, and I had neither. And so it just turned into, like... What?
Well, here's something I think that you can agree with me on, and you appreciate these things way more than me. In fact, like, you have one yourself, so it's a bigger thing for you, but I would totally buy that mullet for $1.
Which, the
both
Japanese
the real
dude?
and the fake one, for Samurai Cop himself.
Samurai Cop doesn't have a mullet, he has long hair.
No, I don't know, how do you define that? Like,
he has long hair.
That's it. That's
the Asian dude
part
here.
Part of the time it's a wig. Sometimes it's like a legit.
The leader of the Katana Clan has a mullet, and then there's a henchman who's wearing a Metallica shirt with a blonde mullet.
Then, but yeah.
So yeah, there's two mullets here, and they're both bad guys. Samurai Cop just has long hair. Like Mel Gibson in The Lethal Weapon 1 through 3, that's a mullet.
Well, that's what they're trying to get here. They're trying to recreate that look, and they have a wig that sort of looks like a mullet. Like, I'm looking at the pictures now. Maybe I just failed to see the distinction, but I would call it that. But then, yes, there's shots where he actually has long hair. There's so many inconsistencies with the hair because...
Yeah, I looked into that, actually. I didn't notice because it's a bad... I mean... Within a scene, there will be like 3 different shots, and they all have different white balance. Like, the wall will look green, and then it'll look purple, and now it's actually white, and now it's green again.
With the color timing in this thing.
I think it's just they were too lazy to do balancing, or maybe it's the timing, or no one even gave a shit. Okay, like
it's funny because this is a 2K restoration that's even on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah,
well, it's right a bad-looking movie.
Yeah,
but
like
it looks
you hear
good.
the crackling and the hissing and the audio, and it's like. That's kind of the best that you'll get of a restoration for Samurai Cop, of all things, is they'll just keep the shitty integrity of it.
I think that's the thing too. When it started, it looked so good that I couldn't tell that it was from '91. Like it seemed like a movie from last year, especially given how you saw it and that kind of audience, and that it was on Amazon Prime. Like all these things going for it, how bad the poster looked, and I was like, the poster doesn't look anything like the movie does.
No.
And I was so confused, especially with the ADR. I was like, this has to be fake. Like, this has to be a newer movie, but then sure enough, you get little things like they're in an office later in the film, and there's a calendar that says January 1991. I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's literally when I knew. And then, yeah, you get, like, that haunted prelude a little bit later. And then, it's like, just the fashion choices. Like, certain things, or the fact that all the cars are proper for the era. They're not, like, modern vehicles in the past type of thing, which is, like, the biggest fuck-up you can do.
No, it's totally a time capsule of 1990 or 1991. It literally, though, there is that calendar. I think it's the Roger Rabbit one, or it's not a poster, but it's...
Yeah, it's the same scene, yeah.
Let's just get to the title of this movie, Samurai Cop.
It makes sense.
Well, but here's the thing. You start introducing these two cops, and they go chase these guys, for just a drug bust, right? Which, a pretty cool chase scene. They light a guy on fire, and it's pretty fucking amazing, but nothing about that says Samurai Cop. So how the fuck do you learn that he's Samurai Cop? Because there's an exposition scene with the bad guys where they literally talk about it, say he's named Samurai,
I think
and he knows Japanese.
Yeah, it's like he knows Japanese fluently,
and it's just
and
like
then he's from San Diego, and he got put up here for some.
I know
reason.
It comes out of nowhere. I mean, there's just so many things about that scene I could point out as amazing. Like, I love that the villain of this guy just is very angry that they're coming after him and they're going to put him in the gas chamber. I don't know, lines like that. Maybe it's because I was with an audience, but like, you can't help but crack up when you hear stupid shit like that.
No, there was like two really good lines here that if I was with a crowd, it would have killed me. The first of which was the chief is really gonna light your ass on fire. He's it doesn't matter.
Black.
It's already black.
Yeah.
And they use it again, which probably works again with a crowd. For me, I was just like, that's pretty okay joke right there.
I mean,
but then I can't even remember what the other one was now.
Though, I mean, just going back to that charcoal black one. I mean, that one's it's just. I love that, they make that joke and he's like, oh yeah, it's already black. Right on. They just high five each other like right after killing a bunch of guys outside.
Oh, that reminds me. Yeah, the good joke, the actual good joke is when they show up in the hospital for some fucking reason. And that sexy nurse is, fucking...
That's the scene that's all over YouTube that people
flirting
love.
With Samurai Cop. And she does that whole thing about, oh, I need someone bigger. Did you get circumcised? Yeah, of course I did. How much did they take off? Like, that killed me.
Like that dialogue, I rolled my eyes. That's funny, but... The cop's reaction, his partner's reaction to every single line, the weird faces that he's making.
I think he even says he's like, well, you can get with me. Or there's like a couple of jokes about how big his it's way later. When
there's also the one when they're in front of the house and they make the burning his ass joke again. He's like, yeah, maybe I'll cut my dick off too. And then the female cop in the background, like, who's just...
Don't waste that.
Who just fucks everybody. She's like, why don't you come on over to my place so we can use it before you lose it? Which, I just...
That was a
by the way, I mean, we can go back to that sex scene too.
All the sex scenes are great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In the Skinamax best. This is a 100% Skinamax movie with some action on the side. Just bad story, bad acting, but great tits.
Oh yeah, I mean, it made me. I really felt invested and just really sad when it came to that moment where they just poured hot water all over her. Like,
it's called an erection, and that was oil,
boiling water. Yeah.
It looked like oiled. It looked like
actual oil.
It doesn't fucking matter.
I don't know. All I know is that it was burning and it was hot, and I was like, "Oh, Peggy, no, don't!" And then she just dies, and I was like, I was really sad.
Yeah, you get Peggy like right when the movie starts, and then you get the love interest. Also the redheaded like assassin.
Yeah, who always says the same line. The boss is coming.
Yeah, and then I think. Oh, and then there's the weightlifting cop's girlfriend or wife or whatever. And it's just
I guess
like,
I
it's
don't
nudity.
know. That one was weird.
The whole movie's weird, but the nudity just comes on like it's like, I bet you if you had a timer, it's like every 15 minutes just so you keep your interest going. And it really is as good as it gets because I'm going to steal a term from Bret Easton Ellis here. They're hard bodies, they got no fat on them. It's all stone. And even Samurai Cop, Like, it doesn't make sense for a movie like this that it takes him so long to take his shirt off. Like, it's seriously like an hour in, and then you get that beach / like pool sequence where you're like, wow, this guy is actually pretty fucking ripped. And the rest of the movie, he's just wearing t-shirts and shit, and you're like, well, he's not really fighting anyone. He's just shooting them. Why is he a samurai?
I also find it funny that he has a house near Venice Beach when he's a cop from San Diego.
Well, he was from San Diego, and he came up here for, like, the specialization.
Supposedly just for the case, though, and then they're supposed to send him back. So, I don't know.
He has a line where the love interest comes into his place, and she goes, oh, is this yours? He's like, yeah, it's mine.
Yeah, it's mine. I'm renting it.
Yeah, he's like, no, it's mine, month to month.
You know, but, I mean, we may as well talk about that love interest because there are so many
It
things
really
to talk
reminded
about.
me of Lethal Weapon, was that 2 or 3? Where there's the consulate. I think that's number 2.
I've only seen the first one, but I mean,
that's number 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, honestly.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, is there weird stuff in that one? Like, what's up with? I just gotta bring it up. The lion head on the wall.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I feel like that's probably the one artistic choice that was made in this movie where the director wanted to inject some symbolism, where he was just like, okay, I want your character to keep just going by this head, like, you don't have a man because this lion, that is your male guardian, and you go to it for protection when there are male predators going after you, or some shit like that, because they dwell on that head a lot. Like, she's always going over to her when he's, like, trying to come onto her, and it's... Come on, it's insane, right? You just can't help but laugh at that a bit,
No,
right?
I didn't laugh at anything.
You weren't laughing, but, I mean, you were reacting, like...
I was laying in bed and I was like, man, I could be asleep right now. I think that was most of my reaction to this film, to be honest, because I didn't watch a single movie this week. This is the only thing I watched, which it's pretty rare, especially for this time of the year. You know, I'm supposed to be binging on all of these award contenders and shit, and yet it's like, I watched Samurai Cop.
Stuff like that, I don't know. There are so many things that details that I just can't help but react. There's that. There's also when they're having dinner or lunch at his place and they talk about the chicken and he just talks about...
The chicken line was good.
Yeah, like that was amazing. But I mean, he talks about just hopping his neighbor's fence and just taking a chicken and killing it just to impress her. Like, where the fuck does this stuff come from? Like, the constant surprises like that in this movie are just... Yeah, I guess I'm spoiled because I saw this in the best environment possible, and now, shit, I feel like an asshole for making you stream it.
This is just a campy direct-to-DVD, not even at that time video. Just a direct-to-video film that you would be walking in the video store, and you're like, I've never heard of this, but the cover's fucking awesome. He's a samurai, he's a cop, there's naked bitches. Yeah, let's watch this one. Like, that's the kind of film it is, and it's perfect for what that is. Like, matter of fact, I know you haven't read it, but in the Rebel Without a Crew book, the Robert Rodriguez's memoir on how he made El Mariachi, he was basically trying to make something like this for the Mexican direct-to-video market. Like that's it. That's what El Mariachi was. Except he made something a little bit better than that, and then became a
Robert Rodriguez that we have now.
Yeah, it became an indie darling and a festival winner. So that film is this film, though. It's just that's the pinnacle of what is possible in this genre with this kind of shoestring budget.
Well, and this is also closer to Ed Wood filmmaking, though. Like, yeah, there are pretty cool action sequences, but they're also really laughable at the same time. I mean, the acting in them, like, everyone just keeps looking around, like, just kind of bobbing their head like they're trying to look at the edge of somewhere, and they're always taking, like, really quick steps, or when they're dodging bullets and they keep ducking their heads, shouting, shoot them, or when the fucking guy falls out of that truck. And, I mean, not to mention when they run over that guy, and he's just like, oh, man, really dang it, I ran over him.
Especially when you compare that to something like a earlier selection on our show on fucking Toxic Avenger, the way they run that person over, which is awesome. And the budget for that was probably the same or a little bit less than the budget here.
The thing is, though, with Toxic Avenger, I think there's at least more of an awareness of the camp that they're going for, whereas this, it's just like, it really feels like they seriously want to make Lethal Weapon. Like, even the guy that's on fire, you can look back at it, you just see him looking around like, hey, when are you guys going to put me out? As there's somebody dubbing over, just screaming for him in pain, which I swear, that one's probably the director, because a lot of these, like, ADR lines, they're from the same guy. It's really hilarious. Like, my favorite one, I think, is when the henchman and the redhead, they're leaving the hospital, and there's just these random people that are going up to them when they're outside, like, going, "Hey, I want to talk to you," and it's the same voice.
Oh yeah,
but
it's like there's a black dude, a Mexican dude.
One's a guy wearing a Ralph Lauren shirt who just doesn't look like a security guard or a police officer at all. Then another is some black guy, and then there's just random people that just come in. It's like these people that seem to have nothing to do with the situation whatsoever, and they don't even sound like the guy, and it's crazy. I mean, this is like beautiful, inept filmmaking.
It does this thing where it will use like a reaction shot that just doesn't make sense, where it will do like a shot A shot B shot A situation where it shows the same shot A twice, and you're just supposed to forget that it was the same exact cut. And in the research, it's apparently because this was done in a series of single takes. So
Yeah,
they didn't
so it's
refilm
kind of like Ed Wood
anything.
filmmaking.
They just went, "Hey, film it. Yeah, that was good. Let's move on to the next thing."
That's why you end up having stupid lines like, and I did briefly read on this. The guy that plays Samurai Cop, which he fucking hates the movie. He gets that it's a joke now, but even lines where he's like, "No, I'm telling these son of a bitches." You know, even he is like, "Hey, we should probably do that again." And the director was like, "No, let's keep going." Like, they're at least the cast and the crew, they're aware of how stupid this thing is while they're doing it. I'm sure that the partner Frank,
I don't
have his
so.
name, but he's just having fun, you know.
I don't think so. Like maybe the
going
partner,
under fences,
maybe
going,
the Murtaugh.
I'm an undercover cop.
Yeah, the Murtaugh character probably knew it was a joke, but almost everyone else, especially the women, you have to assume that they took this really seriously. Like, if you're gonna get naked on film, it's probably because you think you're going to get famous. I think that's why almost every woman
Yeah,
does
but I
in
mean, the
world.
first sex scene, as much as I got to admit, I love Peggy in this, but I mean, it was laughable.
Well, it's just 'cause
like,
it's
you
shot
bring up
like it's a
Skinamax,
fucking
but it's
music
like
video.
it's trying way too damn hard to be sexy without any actual sex on camera, and you can tell. Like, that's what faking it looks like on camera.
Well, you can go even past this, and it works in a better way. Like Top Gun, the Kelly McGillis sex scene, you don't see any nudity. Matter of fact,
no, but you're talking about the stylistic flourishes of Tony Scott versus this.
All I'm saying is you don't actually see any bare-chested women in Top Gun. And that sex scene, which is kind of similar to this sex scene in the way it's kind of set up, like the big one here, it's the same for better or worse. It's just, you have an accomplished director who knows what he's doing versus
who's still in the middle of proving himself. But yeah, he is very fucking talented.
Yeah,
as
versus
case in point, that movie.
Some random dude just going, "Hey, I'm making this basically a rip-off action movie, and I'm gonna just put as much sex in it as possible without getting to NC-17. How about that? This is one dick away from being a porno, legitimately. Like, this is very close. It's not a joke. Like, you know, in my younger days, I watched Skinamax a good amount, or that Cinemax After Dark. If you're a little younger, you don't understand that reference. And no, those movies are just like this one. You get like this a really kooky dialogue that doesn't make sense, character motivation that's non-existent, interesting choices in terms of like set direction and acting, and then like the woman starts taking her clothes off, and you don't see any insertion, but you're like, okay, they had sex. For sure. Like, you have this really great, like, kind of elusive, like, just shot towards the end where you have everything's good. The final fight scene just happened. They're on the beach again.
And then they're on the beach, and then the waves just crash against the
waves crash against the rock. You're like, oh, nice.
No, that's
nice.
That's a Hitchcockian North by Northwest ending there. It's really good.
It's not very good. Like, that shot.
No, I mean,
is
in that
good.
sense, it's like, I mean. Sure, I'm trying to give this movie a compliment, though.
There's
because
no
I would love to
compliments.
make fun of it.
Like, this Black Dynamite is a perfect piece of cinema.
Yeah, but Black Dynamite knows it's being a comedy.
That's what I'm saying. Because it was made by like filmmakers that are so good that they're able to perfectly like capture the mood of this film, but it's an obvious joke. Whereas this one is a joke because you can't believe how silly it is. You know, we're kind of like in just in terms of how the genre works right now, in this period where, you know, it's hip to be old-fashioned, where if this actually did come out this year, I wouldn't be surprised just because it seems like something that a certain crowd is hip to. Whereas this is like, I don't even know. It's this piece of filmmaking that shouldn't exist anymore. Like out of all the things that can go missing, this week, like reel of Marilyn Monroe came up that was unearthed that was like supposed to be lost. Okay, they found that. Think about how many other things they could find if they burn this. Like, imagine, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but what's his name? The Nutty Professor. Don't say Eddie Murphy. Okay. No, the real Nutty Professor.
Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, Jerry Lewis. He has this movie about a clown that has something to do with the Holocaust.
Yeah, but he's not going to let anybody see that
exactly.
While he's alive.
So that movie exists, and instead we have this.
Well, there is someone actively keeping those away from us. I mean, it's very much like the theatrical versions of Star Wars. We got someone that's actively trying to keep those away from us. But this Samurai Cop, no, it's out there. I guess I see what you're getting at. It's just I'm kind of glad that this exists at the same time. You can bring up things like Black Dynamite, but rather than having the stuff that just is kind of trying to recreate these kinds of movies that just sort of accidentally ended up being entertaining, there's a difference between when you have like the real thing versus when someone's trying to do it. Like Black Dynamite, it's funny when there's a boom mic at the top of the camera and the actors are looking at it, or they're looking at the camera and making faces. Like, yeah, it's funny, but
there's a craftsmanship in mimicking this kind of filmmaking, kind of like a Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Okay,
there is, but
whereas
I don't know. There's just something
obviously a bad movie, but someone made it on purpose to be a bad movie.
Yeah,
and
but it's
whereas
like,
this is just a movie that maybe not the actors. I mean, hence the star cutting his head before reshoots happen, and then they have a wig for half the movie. There's a difference between what they did here, though. The director, the writer, the producer, the ADR artist, probably the editor too. He basically did everything all at once. Trying to make something, and it's his final film, mind you. So probably something that he assumed was good. He would have only put that much time into something that he actually cared about.
We have no way of knowing except for the testimonies that are already out there from the cast that was in it.
Yeah, the way, just in what I read about the cast, it didn't seem like they were making a joke production. Like, they were probably pretty serious about this. It's just at a very, non-existent budget. The people aren't good in it, and it's laughable because you're mostly laughing at how bad the film is, or how bad the dialogue is, or just every situation you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this exists. And
there are very few things in this that are good. I mean, just the dialogue in this, for one. This can't, being that it's written by an Iranian, I'm guessing, he's fluent in English enough, but couldn't have been that fluent. I don't
think that's the case at all.
I'd hate to judge it at all. I mean,
I think it's just
the lines in this.
He was just trying to. First off, in a film like this, the dialogue doesn't matter. It's about the action and the sex and whatever.
Well, the dialogue in this movie is something that a lot of people remember.
Well, they remember it now because it's become a cult classic. It's a staple of bad filmmaking.
It's the main thing that takes the center stage in this when you're watching it.
There's so bad it's good movies, and then something like Riccio, which is just a really, really awesome fucking movie that happens to be bad, and it's a shame that it's bad because it's so awesome. Whereas
I'm not
this
so sure
is
about that one, though. I mean, just because for Riccio, you ended up watching it with the dub track, which I was never
the way you're supposed to watch it.
I was never advised to watch it that way, and I laughed at the subtitles, but at the same time, it's like seeing it with the native track and not having any bad performances in there. That's more of someone that's confidently making a movie on purpose. That I feel like they got what they were going for on Riccio. It felt like everything was consistently working in place. It was over the top.
They killed someone with a meat grinder in that movie.
And
he was all he was a hulked out raging dude that was
they went
10
nuts.
times too big. That movie is
I could call Brain Dead or Dead Alive, however you would want to call it, or Bad Taste.
No, that's a good movie.
Yes, I think both are good movies. They're both just very, very campy movies. I think Riccio was going for the same thing.
Ricchio's more than that. Riccio is this weird fucking manga adaptation that you guys can listen to. We have an episode for that, and
don't forget the rap.
Yeah, and hear my rap intro also. But that, I don't know, that's a bad movie, for sure. I'm never gonna tell, someone's be like, hey, what's a good kung fu movie? And be like, oh, Riccio, Story of Ricky. Have you seen that one?
You say, like, you could bring up a real kung fu movie, like something from Bruce Lee, and then you say, and if you want a kung fu movie on acid, watch Riccio, the story of Ricky.
It's its own thing, and it's its own bad thing, whereas this isn't so bad it's good. Like, I don't think I could ever rewatch this outside of, like, a in-passing type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this literally has to be, you're throwing a party, maybe you're having, like, a housewarming or something, and you literally, you put this on in the background, and then when it's over, you put on something equally bad. Because it can't offend anyone because it's not grotesque or anything. There's not, like, obscene nudity or violence, and it's kind of just, like, this middle-of-the-road kind of harmless cinema, if it's if this even counts as cinema to begin with. Like, it was made for strictly monetary purposes. Like, there's no redeeming qualities here. There is some good music.
Music, I mean, I kind of like that this sounded like a Game Boy game soundtrack for an awesome game that I never played, but I don't know if I'd say the music is good.
I think it's pretty good considering what the movie is. Like, it fits it really perfectly. Just, like, kind of subdued, not exactly Muzak, but almost there. Like, it's just there. Like, you don't really pay attention.
The one thing I thought is, even though it's laughable, I think legitimately was good and a lot of effort and passion was put into it. The police captain.
He's okay.
I thought he was great. He fucking gave it his all in this.
He gives, he has one or two lines that hit really good.
He's got some of the best lines in this movie.
Oh, he has the best lines. It's just, it doesn't make sense that you have a police chief this adamant about his job and his police force when you look at the police.
Get the fuck out of here. Go get a job.
Well, I mean, he has, like, that line where he's like, fuck that. Like, they don't need to get arrested. Kill them all. Put them in body bags.
Yeah, but I mean, the
Ruin
guy
them.
that plays him, though, he's giving it his all. Like, he's really giving a passionate performance there. It's not like he's delivering his lines badly or anything. He's taking them seriously and just going all out. And I think he really, really did a good job.
That's a lot of people here, though. Like, the Katana leader, the guy with the mullet, he's pretty good. There's nothing bad about him. He just doesn't get a lot of screen time. The main henchman, who turns out to be the actual
lines of dialogue in a bad way when he's just going, I want his head here on this piano. And then the henchman that looks like Krieger from Archer, just like with those dead eyes, just looks back at him. I mean, honestly, I think the police captain, his performance was probably the one that was filled with the most life, that it made me forget that this was bad dialogue he was reciting. I mean, even with his, like, 2 seconds where he's still holding his finger and it's almost like someone forgot to call cut, or they forgot to edit that out.
Yeah, they didn't edit that out with his smile that happens
yeah,
a second
he's just
later.
holding his finger up for, what is it, like, feels like 10 seconds.
It's a couple of seconds, and then he smiles, and then it cuts to something else. Like, it just really bad filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you can say about this. Like, I can't recommend this to someone, because if someone is into bad movies, they've probably already seen it. Especially since, because I don't actually, like, remember watching these YouTube clips, but yeah, a couple years ago I do remember, like, seeing them on Facebook or whatever, on 4chan or something. Like, they did pop up on the internet in have you ever heard of Samurai Cop way? And it's like, no, well, check this out. It's like sketch comedy perfected the parody of this kind of movie. The movies we kind of mentioned already, between, like, Kung Fury and Black Dynamite and Kung Pao and countless other ones, even, like, to an extent, like, something good, like whatchamacallit, Kung Fu Hustle. Like, there are good movies that just are campy in the way that this is, but when it's purposeful, that's how you get acclaim. And I haven't done it. I'm sure it's going to be on the show eventually. But The Room, that's a similar movie to this. It's like one person's responsible.
Tommy Wiseau is in the sequel for Samurai Cop.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to see that alone. But yeah, this is definitely in the same league as that. In that, you know what? If as far as a buy, you made this up last time. So for a literal dollar, yes, I would totally do that.
I don't think this is worth a real dollar.
A literal dollar?
Yeah, a literal dollar.
Yeah, I would do that. This is probably like The Room, though, for me, in that I am more likely to go back and watch the best parts of it on YouTube. That scene with the nurse, I will absolutely watch that on YouTube. I will show that to people on YouTube. And if I have people over for a party, I will definitely pull this up and just toss it on in the background. So It's good, trashy fun. I guess where you and I really differ, though, is that I like seeing just these movies that were supposed to be good and just kind of ended up falling apart, but still ended up being entertaining enough in their own way for not being what they were supposed to be. Like, to me, there's something about that where it may not necessarily be of quality, but just when you see something like this, I don't know, like, I still can't help but enjoy it and at the same time appreciate when something is done right, or at least is done in a way that's effective. Because when it's done horribly, like, it's nice to, I guess, just there's something about, like, you have to laugh at this no matter what.
Can you imagine, though, being this director? Your film premieres. I mean, it wasn't really in theaters. But
I don't think it even
still,
screened or had a rap party.
I'm sure they did. You know, like, it was shown somewhere. Maybe he, like, showed it off to some friends. God knows what. Okay, but this was shown at some point in front of an audience. And can you imagine the director being there and it's supposed to be really dramatic and people were laughing, or they start, like, laughing really hard to the point where, like, they skip over the dialogue because no one's paying attention? And how much that must have hurt. Maybe that's what he died. Maybe he killed himself because of this thing. But that
I think he died quite a few years later after that. This thing was done.
It makes me sad because this isn't a cult movie in the likes of, like, a Cheech and Chong or a Harold and Kumar or like Dude, Where's My Car? Because all of those examples, those are films that were made competently. They have good jokes, there's good music, there's great direction, there's nothing wrong with it, there's no color balancing issues, wardrobe is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this is no Freddy Got Fingered. Like, as much as I despise Freddy Got Fingered,
that's
Freddy
a real
Got
movie.
Fingered, yeah, it's a studio movie, and it is made by someone that's injecting their brand of humor into it. Now, I fucking hated the final product, but that is someone using studio money and putting something that is technically competent, even if...
No, it's totally competent. There's no issues in terms of framing.
That's what I'm saying. If it is technically
or...
competent, I'm just saying if the product itself narratively isn't.
But
yes, like this, whereas it's like there's color issues, there's problems with dialogue, or just like audio levels in general, where the score just drowns out certain lines of dialogue, or they're poorly recorded. There's choppy editing all over the place. Like, there's so much inconsistency within the shots, like even when they're shot in different locations. And just if you want to see something like this, just for the sake of seeing a movie like this that just doesn't turn out well, like, because there's just something fascinating about seeing something go horribly wrong that I don't know, disasters just, to me, are naturally interesting in some way, and they have to be talked about and looked at so you can really understand why things work in filmmaking. And yeah, this is that at the same time while being unintentionally really funny. Like, so there's really good value in that.
Movies like this don't exist anymore, and part of that is because digital filmmaking makes it close to impossible to have a finished product like this.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's why people today have started trying to create things, not even just movies, but also TV shows and even, like, fucking video games, in the case of something like Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, that harken to this era of filmmaking, when cable was fully off the ground, when the video store was coming into, like, its full fucking swing, and you could make a very successful direct-to-video movie. Like, Disney proved that with how many sequels they put out there. And not even just that, but the pornography industry kind of took off because of home video.
And don't forget Japanese video cinema in the 80s.
Just like 1,000 different things. Like, Mystery Science Theater 3000 exists because of films like this. It's the reason why that ever became a brand, where a film is so bad you don't actually watch the fucking thing. You just talk about it for an audience in the same way like you do those Master Pancake things.
Yeah.
That's why this movie exists nowadays. Like, there's no actual merit. You're not going to learn anything. You're not going to be impressed. You're not going to be touched. You might laugh, but you're laughing at it, not with it. And it is a strictly not even entertainment value watch, but yeah, like you said, just kind of like a historical document in terms of how things can go wrong and how you can learn from that. Because trust me, if you were in film school, instead of showing you fucking like Citizen Kane and Schindler's List and stuff like that, if you saw bad movies like this, you would learn way more. about everything. And it would be like just proof. If you don't pay attention, if you don't storyboard, if you don't have a good script supervisor or AD, you're probably going to end up with something like this.
No, and you know what? Honestly, I feel like movies like this should be required viewing in film school instead of having people go back to class after the weekend and going, ugh, Batman vs. Superman was one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Solid movie.
You should watch Samurai Cop. By the way, Ultimate Edition. Yeah, granted, theatrically they would not have seen
even the theatrical. Okay, it's not good.
I know you love to shit on it, but I'm sure
movie.
you were much more positive on that in the actual review. I remember, like it's at least a good piece of entertainment.
No, I wouldn't even say it's a good piece of entertainment.
Well, you said solid movie. I mean,
it's in terms of like filmmaking, it's a solid movie. Like it's not
like
good, but everything that they intended to do is done in that film. It's just done a lot better when you add 30 minutes.
The movie that they were trying to make into it, rather than what the studio wanted.
They actually did make the movie. It's just the studio didn't release it.
Exactly.
Which is a fucking shame.
Yeah, it happens.
This is why films like this exist, because studios weren't in the way. This is one person with a lot of money deciding to make something for a specialized market, which anyone can do, even today. Now it's called YouTube. So, if anything, this is a battle cry, or like a fucking maybe films like these can start a renaissance of the independent filmmaking community, because as much as people love Cannes and Sundance and Slamdance and South by Southwest and how many other fucking film festivals I can name in one breath, they don't champion things like these. Like, it's gotta look good.
The good ones or the bad ones? Like,
kind of all of them. Like, if a film like that's the catch-22. If you made a film like this on purpose, you intentionally had these kind of hiccups, these inaccuracies, this funny dialogue, it would be a hit. But if you made this for real, like you actually made this movie, and it turned out the way it did, not even that, people would just like turn it off. You wouldn't be able to get into a festival. But if you like submitted it with like a tongue-in-cheek kind of letter, like, I hope you like this, we put 1,000 man-hours into it to make sure that it's flawless, like, that kind of thing would sell. Like, that's what people are into. But the actual bad movie isn't a thing anymore. Like, even when something is a flop, like a Silence, okay? That's not making money for a different reason. But that's being called a quote-unquote flop. When you make a bad movie, people don't see it. Except if it's really, really, really bad.
Okay, but what if let's just say, for the sake of argument, what would you call The Do-Over? Because that, to me, is a really, really, really bad movie that has some competent technical talent behind it, but even as far as filmmaking, is just flat out lazy in quite a few ways, and probably feels more overlong and badly paced than this, to be honest, because at least with this, I was laughing. Even if the pacing is all over the place.
The Do-Over is just a lazy, and it's similar to this because it is direct-to-video, it's direct-to-Netflix, and that's one of the few examples of an actual Netflix original film.
And it's bad.
That's just lazy filmmaking. That's what happens when you expect more from everyone involved. Like, what Adam Sandler and even more so what David Spade, what they're capable of. I have a Dickie Roberts poster in my room, and you're just, especially people our age, you go, what the fuck is wrong with you? You made Pixels, then you made The Ridiculous Six, and now you've made The Do-Over?
It just keeps giving less and less and less of a shit as they go along.
Keeps on cashing more and more and more in as he goes along.
Seriously, I feel like there's way more technical proficiency in Samurai Cop than in The Do-Over.
No, The Do-Over is framed well. There's some fucking confusing ideas, especially in terms of like that fake vomit.
There's some piss poor action sequences in there. There's some really, the thing with the vomit is just that's bad as far as just sound and as far as storyboards.
That's a lazy movie.
Like,
altogether, that's a lazy movie. From script to screen, it's lazy, but it's competent. Like, they might not be giving it their all, but they didn't, half-ass it once it was, like, got the ball rolling. They decided on a shitty movie, they made a shitty movie. They didn't want to make something good, they wanted to make something for Netflix, and it's a perfect idea for Netflix. And every Adam Sandler movie, the next two included, are going to have a ton of plays just because, for one thing, we're going to review it, and countless other people on the internet, and I don't think Tyler has an episode for The Do-Over yet. No, he does. And
he does, and he likes it, too.
Yeah, he liked it.
Like, I've listened to both of his episodes. He has 2 of them on him.
It's a 2-parter,
yeah. Yeah, and good for him, man. I'm glad he likes it. But, just fuck that movie.
Samurai Cop, cool title, cool premise, bad movie, can't buy it.
Piece of crap, but I enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening. We hope it's been a pleasure. If you like this show and you want to hear more of our wonderful voices on a weekly basis, check out 2 Cents. I'll recap what's happened in film, TV, and tech news.
We're also on the titular Dollar Review Show, a spoiler-free critique of new releases or anything we've discovered on our own, whether that be TV, music, etc.
You can find all of our content at dollarreviews.net. Follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook at Dollar Reviews.
And we're also on Google Play Music, iTunes, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, just about anywhere on the internet with hours of content available to you for free. But for those of you that feel that the show is worth your dollar, you can send us a donation at patreon.com/dollarreviews. Contributions not only earn our undying love, but they also make it possible for us to improve our recording equipment and to give you the highest quality episodes possible. But more importantly, they'd be helping us acquire the content to review. You know, trips to the multiplex are expensive, and the more donations we receive, the more films we can review for your listening pleasure.
If you listen somewhere we're currently not available, you'd like to contribute some talking points, send a Death to Cinema request, or if you just want to laugh at us, you can do so by reaching out to us on social media or send an email to brian@dollarreviews.net.
Or you can email me as well, steve@dollarreviews.net.
You can follow me personally on Twitter at Brian Gillis, that's BRYONGILLIS, and now you know how to spell the email too, and also under the same name on the lovely site Letterboxd, which acts as my film diary, where I rate films I'm watching, write the occasional review, and even sometimes compile lists.
You can also find me on Twitter at S_MTX, and also follow my film diary at Letterboxd under the same name, where I log everything I watch, and sometimes write brief reviews.
That's it for this week. Until next time, keep the change.